lost when I feel like nothing. Always feel like I'm running. Both feel we're living worlds apart. It's fucked now, we lost in limbo. Remembering what you said though, when I asked you if we'd make it far. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said no, 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 no. No, 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 you should. I've earned the cost and now I've paid it. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, please don't go. I know my face a memory erasing. Been a few years since I heard your voice, yeah. Lost a few here, but it's not by choice, no. Girl, I see your face every day when I look through my phone. Can't delete all these memories, won't leave me alone. Hit my blind side, never saw you coming. You were so wild, both know I was nothing. And I'm nothing now, nothing's changed. You know I'm just the same. Miss you now, but I hope that someday you explain. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Can we get a mic check? I'm streaming through StreamYards today. I don't normally stream through StreamYards. My other one was messing up a little bit, so I want to make sure. Hi, it's good to see you all. I love you all too. Thank you guys so much. Yes, and Emmett from East Tennessee was found. Thank you, Trevor, for keeping us in the loop for that this morning. Thank you so much. It's good to see you all. Thank you all for joining me. So, ICU and I, we were going through some videos and stuff, and within like the first few minutes of one of Jose's interviews, he talks about the couch and what it was used for. And I thought we could go through some of that, hear what he has to say. It's good to see you all. Thank you all for being so classy in chat. Y'all are awesome always. And Jose is no longer here. He departed the earth a while back, and we can't call him, but we do have interviews from him. They found Little Knight Rider 8 miles away. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so let's get started. Let's just go ahead and get started on this. I don't like StreamYard because I like to be over here, and that's like I like to be on this side, but I want to be on this side. Oh wow, I don't think it'll let me do that. No, I'm just making sure. Oh, well, how about that? Still a little too close. It's too close for comfort up in here. All right. Without further ado, let's get started. Let me know if y'all can hear this. At least. So ICU and I worked extremely diligently to find him. Can y'all hear that? Yes, up in the bubble. You're really close to the face. Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you for putting fives in the chats. Finally have service. What's that mean? I see you. Who unfortunately blocked you. Okay.
It was February or March. I remember it was winter time.
Mhm.
We wound up going down there, and I left like a little bit almost before we were touching fall, you could say.
Okay. Okay. Okay, go ahead with your story. You're fine.
Uh, so I was staying with them at the time, and they was helping me at the time. Donnie wasn't in the residence at that time. He was actually in Utah
Mm-hmm.
at that time, and I was renting from Candace. She was there with her mother as well, and her four children. Well, not her four because Josie actually wasn't there either. Josie was with Donnie Wells in Utah.
Okay.
So in the house, it was basically Wayland, Wyatt, and Summer in the house.
Okay.
And so while I was staying there, a lot of things had transpired while I was there. You know, I guess they all liked me in the sense of relationships wise. You know, they found I was cute or whatever. But at the time, because of what I was going through, I really didn't want to hook up with no relationship type deal. I was just trying to get myself together, you know, having severe nightmares and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was there, I could remember the first time I initially walked into the home that we were coming up the driveway, how to get up there. Their lawn was like, oh, like if you was in another state, they probably would have got fined for the way that lawn was because how tall it was. You know, lawnmower was sitting there. You know, the kids didn't really have much play area. Also, at the time, I also found out there was a poisonous snake lurking around in the yard.
Oh
You know,
wow.
they had a beehive hidden under the lawn by the driveway. It was pretty bad. I found all these things out after I mowed that lawn for them so the
Mm-hmm.
kids could play. I remember the first time I initially walked in through the door, I was pretty much shocked at what I saw because as you entered, you know, you see mattresses on the floor, blankets were thrown all over the place, and you know, TV was in a certain particular corner with movies piled up, and then as you entered through another door, you got to the kitchen area, and truly it was disgusting. Dishes piled up, looked like it hadn't been washed in weeks. Roaches all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I remember asking them to use the bathroom, and you would walk a little bit and had to go behind these double dressers that they basically turned into a wall so you couldn't see someone actually using the toilet. So they had the toilet there and the sink and the shower, which was like a shower stand. And when where the shower was, when you
Mm-hmm.
looked down, it was supposed to be like a little closet area where they had all their clothes just hung up and things like that. So when they were taking me to where I was gonna sleep, it was downstairs in the cellar, and I was thinking, you know, I don't see no stairs. You know, how the hell am I gonna get down there? And when I looked, just behind this counter that they had, that basically looked like a bar that they built, there was
Mm-hmm.
a hole in the ground, and you just walk down those stairs, and you were into the cellar. And when you look to the
Sorry about that. I had to step away for a moment. I had to sign for a package. Did he talk about the sofa yet? Did anyone did he talk about the sofa yet? My email. Nope. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's continue.
The left was the parents' room, and
Now, when
the
you
door
say
to
cellar,
the
do you mean basement?
yes,
Okay,
basically
okay,
yes, the
okay,
basement.
okay.
Okay,
So the house it originally actually was a cellar. It was never designed to live in. It actually was a cellar, not a basement. So there's that. That's how Don's mother, I think, had it fixed.
so when you walk down those stairs as you're going down through the hole, you would look to the left, and to the left was a big open area. They had a 42-inch TV on a shelf. Their door to access outside into the driveway was there. They had a couch in front of that door.
Oh, they did, Jose. They did. They had a couch in front of that door. Boom. They had a couch in front of that door. This was before we knew anything about the blue couch. She was just explaining the room. Where did he talk about Hunter and Candace? Hey, dear. I don't know. I have several.
Their lawn was like, oh, like if you was in another state, they probably would have got fined for the way that
forward that again.
Lurking around in the yard. You know, they had a beehive hidden under. Through another door, you got to the kitchen area, and truly, it was disgusting. Dishes piled up, looked like it hadn't been washed in weeks. Roaches all over the place.
Mhm.
I remember asking them to use the bathroom, and you would walk a little bit and had to go behind these double dressers that they basically turned into a wall so you couldn't see someone actually using the toilet. So they had the toilet there and the sink and the shower, which was like a shower stand. And where the shower was, when you looked down, it was supposed to be like a little closet area where they had all their clothes just hung up and things like that. So when they were taking me to where I was gonna sleep, it was downstairs in the cellar. And I was thinking, I don't see no stairs, how the hell am I gonna get down there? And when I looked just behind this counter that they had that basically looked like a bar that they built, there was a hole in the ground, and you just walked down those stairs and you were into the cellar. And when you look to the left was the parents' room. And
now, when you say cellar, do you mean basement?
Yes,
okay,
basically,
okay,
yes, the
okay,
basement.
okay.
Okay, so when you walk down those stairs as you're going down through the hole, you would look to the left, and to the left was a big open area.
Listen carefully, because he's about to say it, and he's describing the room.
They had a 42-inch TV on a.
We know that there was the big screen TV down there.
On the shelf. Their door to access outside into the driveway was there. They had a couch in front of that door, and then their mattress was basically on the floor. They didn't have no bed rails or anything. It was center blocks on the floor, and the mattress was on top of those center blocks.
Whose bed was that?
And then that was the parents' room.
Okay, downstairs.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you say there was a couch in front of the door that goes outside?
Correct. Yes, that was to prevent any of the kids opening and closing that door. When.
Okay, maybe we didn't know about the blue couch then. I see you just asked it there. I can't remember. Miss Prissy Pauls, thank you for becoming a member, my love. Welcome to the family. Please welcome Miss Prissy Pauls to the family. Thank you so much for your support. So there's a couch so the kids couldn't get out. Remember, Candace and Don said, nobody in, nobody out on June 15th, meaning the boys. Nobody in, nobody out. They had a couch downstairs that sat in front of the door. The door didn't lock at the time. They put the couch there. No one in, no one out. They had a bed sitting on center blocks. Right? How do you look under the bed on the floor? Exactly. Such a lie. There's
When y'all finally contacted me, just going a little ahead, when y'all had contacted me and was telling me everything that's going on, I could clearly remember that, looking at these videos as they were talking with Donnie, and he's like, well, Summer's pretty intelligent. She could have opened that door, but no, there is no could have. There is a definite, because she had the consistency of always unlocking the door and walking out whenever they see fit. And this was not just Summer. This was also Waylon and Wyatt as well.
Mhm.
So they would just come in and out freely,
So
Candace
the door did lock.
for them. Excuse me?
The door
You
did
said
lock.
the door does lock or it did not lock?
No, it did not lock. Something was wrong with the lock, and they couldn't find the key. So they basically had this, not a love seat, but the larger one that looked like it was a sofa bed, but it wasn't. And it was blue, and they had that pushed up against the entranceway of the door.
I don't think it becomes any more clear. There it is. There it is. Yeah, and Jose said they would go freely. Like Candace walking over Summer, a whole 10 feet to make sure she got in the house. You didn't need to walk her over. All you needed to do was sit there and watch her go in. Canadian Cookie, thank you so much. 5 months of membership. Thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot. Thank you, truly. So, there you go. What else have they done? God only knows. Well, we heard the 911 call the other day. He tried to hurt Summer. Summer's running to her mother. Mom, mommy, help me. And then you hear at the end of that, Candace not talking to the 911, but you hear in the background, in my opinion, it sounded like he tried to R her. Listen to it for yourself. It's on Evil Exist as well.
And that's where the kids would hang out and sit and watch the TV, watch movies and cartoons and things like that.
Okay,
And
so
then
the couch was inside, right? It wasn't like an out. They didn't.
No, it was inside of Candace and Donnie's room, but it was pressed up against the wall that literally the door was there.
Okay.
And I slept in the room adjacent to them. And in that room adjacent to them was basically the kids' playroom. And all their toys was in there and stuff. Another thing was when I seen a photo of where they showed how the boys' beds were and things like that. That bed was never there. That bed was the bed I slept in the cellar. It was literally pushed up against the wall, and the rest of the room was the kids' room that had all their toys. And I remember it specifically because the kids will always come downstairs. Hey, Jose, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, what's up? And they would be like, we came to play with our toys. And I would be laying there, and I'll be like, go ahead, have at it. Go play with your toys, And Candace would yell from upstairs. That leave Jose alone. He's trying to get rest and stuff. And I would tell her, don't worry about it. They're kids. Let them play. I really don't care at all whatsoever. So it was basically my room / their playroom, which I never denied them entrance. There was no door to the room; they could just freely walk in.
What was
and
there
then
doors
only
anywhere in anywhere in the house?
the doors to get in and out.
So the boys had no bed. One of the boys slept on the couch, I believe, and the other two boys, I think they slept upstairs in the bunk bed. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Out of the home.
Okay, so but there was no internal door.
There was an internal door from the first room you entered through the front of the house to get into the kitchen. It was a blue door with a glass window, and that door, when the kids were, not behaving. This was after Donnie came back.
Hey, one second, Jose. 1 second, Jose. I see you're having some feedback. Your mic may be okay. There we go. Go ahead. Sorry, Jose.
Okay, so Donnie will always keep that blue door closed, and he would tell the kids, don't mess with the lock. We don't have the key for this door. Leave the door somewhat open, and it was basically, to keep the house warm and things like that. But
let me show you this, just to refresh everyone's mind. Just to refresh everyone's mind. 1 second. This is the bedroom upstairs. This was the bedroom upstairs. What door closed again? I have no idea. Probably the front door is the only thing that closed. Here's Summer's bedroom. Which I guess this would be Jose's bedroom at the time. There's no window, there's no heating, cooling unit that you see, vents, flooring. I don't even think there's a ceiling. You just see the rafters. Those are courtesy of Chris from the interview room. No paint on the wall. I mean, it's just despicable. Despicable. I mean, that truly, look it up. It looks like a third world country prison. It really does. Bingo. Bingo. And yet, children live there. Crazy, huh? All right, let's continue.
Kids did get out of hand, Donnie would send them in that room and close both doors, the doors to the front room and the door to that kitchen. And the kids would be in there, though they had TV and then.
Uh-oh, the call dropped. Hold on. That's not good. Let's see if I can fast forward it a little bit.
Basically, Candace and Summer, Grandis, and Wyatt would sleep in that front room. They literally had two queen size mattresses on the floor, and then they had a futon bed against the wall. That's where Grandis had slept because she had a knee replacement and she couldn't really get up and down from the floor. She also had a camper on property that, she slept in once in a while as well. And Wayland would usually sleep in the cellar in his parents' room on the couch, and he would fall asleep watching cartoons on TV.
Oh. Okay, so one of the boys would sleep on the couch downstairs and watch TV. And mind you, the couch and Dawn and Candace's bedroom is right there beside each other. Yes, JD, only plywood floors, not finished whatsoever. Yeah.
And I would be in the next room next.
Which is completely unsanitary. Completely unsanitary. You can't wash a plywood floor. You can't wash it. You can't sanitize it. You can't, yeah, I mean, you could sweep the dirt off of it, but you can't get, dirt's going to sink into that untreated wood and stuff. It's just not going to work.
Store.
Okay. So why would Don put the kids in the room? Like, what did?
Oh, if they disobeyed, didn't listen to what he said, he just would get so upset and start screaming and yelling at them, and go in the effing room. And that man, listening to him talk to you, it's like looking at two sides of a coin, because he talks to you one way, but when you see him behind closed doors, this is totally different, man. F bomb out of his mouth, S this.
So Jose says Don is very different behind closed walls. And, just like, we all have our personal or our professional, the public life, the personal life, our family, close friends, and then our secret life, which nobody knows. And yesterday, in my opinion, Candace showed the secret part of herself by going out there and doing all that. And, Dawn, we've seen that several times.
Is like freely. It's like the F word is definitely a prime word in his vocabulary, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Did Don go to church whenever you was there?
Did he go where?
Did he go to church?
No, he never went to church. No.
Jose had to ask, did he what? Did he go where? Church, Jose, church.
Never. Yeah. From the moment he would come home from work, he already had beer in him. So basically, you're driving drunk coming home from work, and then when he did buy food for the
house, which, it's no secret Don has DUIs, what he was just in jail for recently. And Fred Hill and Laura said something interesting. I just connected the two because Jose said, pretty much the time he would get off work, he would go and get some alcohol beverage and drink it and kind of head on his way home. And Fred said it was funny because the day that he was down there 3 hours after Summer went missing, he was as straight as an arrow. He wasn't drunk or anything, which was kind of weird to him because, it was evening and he never really.
When he got there, it's basically stuff from Dollar General, Family Dollar things.
You mean the Dollar General down the road there where the
Oh yes, absolutely.
I've been
and it
there.
would be all junk food, like the chips, cupcakes, Twinkies, things like that. That's not food for children at all. I mean, it's snacks for them, yes.
Right.
But as far as real home cooked meals, that was not happening. Home cooked meals wasn't being cooked often until I entered the home, because I remember telling them, hey, I would like to cook something. And Candace and her mother looked at me like, wait, you know how to cook? I'm like, yeah, like, of course I do. I have 3 kids. I used to cook for them all the time. I love to cook. That's one of the things I enjoy doing for my children. So let me make something for them. And they sat there in amazement watching me cook. And as I'm cooking, I'm washing all these piles of dishes, and putting them away on the side. They didn't even have dish holders, everything was just laid out on top of a counter, dish on top of dish. The spoons were just laid out like that. But if you looked at the rest of the home, just things were scattered everywhere. It looked like she was in the process of moving, but
Mm-hmm.
she decided to stay.
What do you
And
What do you
during that,
mean she decided to stay?
I don't know. She said she was gonna. She didn't want to be there alone with the kids anymore because Donnie was gone, and he shouldn't have left. He should have stayed. She didn't want to move to Utah. She specifically stressed that a lot. I don't want to move up there. I don't want to go up there. No, 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 no. And I guess she was about to move because a lot of her stuff were still in boxes and scattered, and they were looking for things. It was a pretty big mess in there.
Don wanted the family to pick up and move to Utah. That's when Don had went to Utah, him and one of the oldest boy, and Candace wasn't going to move. Uh, I think they wanted to try to sell their home at one point. I have a thing where Candace posted about selling her home, 11 acres and all that, sometimes before, obviously, Summer went missing. I think it was probably before Jose.
And
It
little
was.
by little, I would help them, clean up little by little. And the more consistent I got with it, the boys started to help me, Waylon and Wyatt.
Mhm.
I would do the dishes, or Waylon would dry them, and Wyatt would put them up so they wouldn't break or anything.
Mhm.
They started sweeping, when they returned back to school, and they would come home, you know, they weren't even allowed to eat until they had to do their homework, which I feel that that's wrong because, the children eat at 11 in the morning and they're coming home at 3 from the bus, 3:30. Of course, they're going to want to eat something small. They're hungry. They're young. They burn through that energy. And they couldn't even eat. They had to do their homework first before they ate. And even after their homework was done, it's dollar pizzas, or chips or cupcakes. I'm saying to myself, like, where's like turkey and cheese, tuna fish, maybe a can of spaghetti and meatballs, things like that.
Mhm.
Not even that was there, and I could remember that when the first month that I was there, Allie would constantly, every single day, she would go to Walmart, all the way to Kingsport, to Walmart, and spend her little bit of money that she earns from her job, taken away from her children and giving it to Summer and the boys because even she was eye to eye with me. These kids need to eat. Like,
Of
what's
course.
going on here?
Mhm.
And it was just an incredible experience. You could say an eye opener. It made me realize, wow, compared to these people, I'm a wonderful dad. Like, I cook, I clean, wash clothes. I've even done laundry for them,
Mhm.
even, and they are amazed because all they kept saying is, Donnie don't do things like that. Like, that man does not do anything. All he does is work, drink, come home. That's it.
Okay,
So,
could you tell us about when Don returned? How did all of that go down?
well, basically, when he was coming back, I remember Candace was telling me that, oh, he's pissed. And, before he returned, I find it kind of strange that he said he didn't know who I was until he came home because I had spoken with him on numerous occasions on the telephone.
So Don was in Utah and Grandis was talking to Don a lot, making Don jealous that Jose was there, renting a room. And Grandis kept pushing that. And so then Don got in his truck and traveled 110 miles an hour uh, across, the country to back to Rogersville. and Don talked to Jose, on the way there, and uh, according to Jose.
While he was on his way back from Utah, and I thought everything was cool between us. He came home, he was calm, he didn't drink the first 2 days. On the second day that he was there, he got his old job back, was ready to return back to work. And next thing I know, he's back into work. A couple of days later, he gets paid, fills up his fridge full of all this frozen junk food and beer and liquor. And right away, it's to the drinking. And I remember a couple of times I would be downstairs, laying down about to pass out, and I hear them fighting upstairs. And it's not like a normal fight. It's a drunk fight between two drunk people.
Yeah, when you say pass out, you mean going to sleep, right? So, how many times have we heard the drunk Don and Candace fight?
Donnie, what you done, Donnie? I see you, Donnie.
Candace, don't break the fucking door. That kind of thing. Countless. And they wonder why the kids don't want to come back. You know what I mean? They wonder why the kids don't want to come back. Who am I? Oh, you're a dumbass. Yeah, you're a dumbass. No, you're a real dumbass. Elena. Exactly. Like daily. When Jose speaks, Billy says, what he's saying is very specific to be lies. We all have to what? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I believe Jose on, he really doesn't have a reason to lie. Maybe he doesn't remember.
Yes, basically, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, but
You just got to be really
going to
clear
sleep
on
because
here.
at the time that he returned, I had started a part-time job, to earn a little extra money and things like that.
And that is true. Jose was working at a cat scratch assembly place, or where they manufactured cat scratch towers. And I verified his employment. I have his check stubs, everything, like legit. Seen it all.
So, it would be like almost 8 o'clock at night, 8:30 maybe, and they would be hammered, like, and I mean hammered. But they didn't look like they were hammered, but they were drunk. We were talking Black Velvet and a fifth of it, and they will always have a 12-pack of Mountain Dew under the table, and I clearly.
So I don't know what Black Velvet is. I'm not a drinker, but when he said Mountain Dew, I instantly believed it. You know what I mean? So yeah, a fifth of Black Velvet.
Remember that because the minute the box opened a soda and Candace would crack it open, Summer would come running into the kitchen. Can I have soda? Can I have soda? And I'm like, baby, you don't want juice or water? And she would be like, no, I want soda. And they would just give it to her. And I would tell them, too much soda is not good for her. She's too little to be drinking that, but you could only say so much before you realize that what you're saying is going through one ear and out of the other.
Right.
And
so when did things turn after Don came back? And can you tell us about that?
About a week after he returned, things started to really deteriorate with me being there. He kept accusing Candace of sleeping with me while he was gone and things like that. When I finally saw the video that he was talking with the guy Chris from TIR, uh, he was telling them that, oh yeah, you know, she had this guy in the house, and he was gay or whatever. That's a bold-faced lie. I'm not gay. I'm
Okay.
nowhere near that.
Okay.
I
So, excuse me. Sorry. Jose, they told Jose, Candace told Don that Jose was gay because, uh, to not make him jealous and stuff.
am a straight man. I
Okay.
prefer women. That is
Okay.
my preference.
Right.
Period. And
Well, that's a.
I'm, and
So
I'm saying
you're saying where Candace and everyone said that you preferred men that you actually are indeed straight.
exactly
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And I believe that they were telling him that to just ease tension, so there wouldn't be like a severe conflict. But during the time that I was there helping them and stuff, they're realizing like, wow, this guy's here and he's renting from me. He's a good friend, helps my kids with homework. He cooks, he cleans. Like, who is this guy? And it's nothing special. Like, there's many of men like me who do things like that. This is what you're supposed to do. These are your children. You want their well-being in your heart constantly. You want to make sure they're fed, their clothes are clean, they have a proper bed to sleep in. And I get emotional talking about that because I remember, seeing them sleep on these couches, on the floor, and it would bother me a lot, like a lot. And I'll be like, like, what's going on? And it was always one finger's pointing the other. Oh, it's his fault. Or he would say, oh, it's her fault. They just constantly kept blaming each other instead of just meeting each other in the middle, find common ground, and fix things together. It was always a constant conflict. Past was kept being thrown up on each other's faces, and things like that. So, about a week after, yeah, it started to get very heated. It was always about me, always. And, my name just kept constantly flying out there. And one night, they got so drunk. This was the week that I had left. They had gotten real drunk.
Is this the night where the police came?
Yes,
okay.
Correct. And I remember that night very clearly because I was half asleep. I was literally half asleep, ready to, go into Wonderland, as you would say. And all I could remember was hearing this loud banging thump noise, like if someone hit the ground. And I remember jumping off the bed and running up those tiny steps, and peeking out. And Candace is literally on top of Donnie. Like, don't you ever put a hand on me? And things like that. And I'm like, what is going on? And she was telling me this asshole here is saying me and you doing something together. And I'm like, yo, we're not doing nothing. We never did anything, like, at all, at all. And he was like, I want you out of my house. And I said, I will leave this home when your wife tells me to leave this home because she's the one who is renting from me and she is the one who is helping me. You were nowhere around, so you have no say so here at the moment, especially that you took your oldest son and you ditched the rest of your family. If you could have moved to another state, pick up your entire family and go. Don't take one child and leave the wife with the rest because that was wrong. And if Summer, as he said, is his world, she should have been the first one on that truck with him.
That's a good point. Why did Don take one son? Now there is rumor out there about one of Allie's children and the son had I'll just say an incident, and CPS may have been involved with that at a time. I don't know. That is not, I've not been able to confirm that. I don't know if Allie ever confirmed it or what, but that is the only reason that I have ever heard why that may be, the case. But why take the oldest son? Now, people always say that the oldest was the one that was favored. Do I believe Jose and Candace relationship was platonic? I have no idea. I have no idea. Only Jose and Candace would know that, and both claim that there wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me.
When he left to Utah,
Nothing
not
surprises me.
leave her
No.
with Candace, and then leave Candace with barely any money. Candace would have to call him, I need money for food, I need, money to pay the light and things like that. And she would be full blown fights with him about that. And, eventually he would give in and send her a few dollars, and that was it. But it would be a full blown fight just to get money from him, from Utah, so she could get whatever she needed for the house. So that night, after he got up and he's yelling at me, he's there drinking his a beer. I don't remember what kind of beer it was. It was a brown bottle. And I started to tell him, once a cheater, always a cheater. You cheated on your wife while your wife is downstairs in the basement with your daughter, and you up here in this room where your sons are sleeping at, and you're having sex with some lady who uses drugs, and you're saying you're helping her. But yeah, I could imagine you're helping her. And I guess he didn't like the truth being told in his face, because he wound up throwing the beer bottle at me right in my face. And the beer bottle wound up breaking, and it chipped my front tooth.
Mhm.
And I remember after that initial, hit, I literally, Grandis was in between us, and Candace was behind Grandis. Like they were trying to keep us separated.
Mhm.
And at that time, that's when Donnie just shoved Candace out of the way. And I started to approach him as he's coming towards me. And Grandis is still trying to keep us separated. But, I was already, so much anger was inside of me that
Sure.
he done threw this bottle at me,
Broke your tooth.
like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm done with this. And I wind up moving Grandis out of the way. I didn't shove her. I didn't do anything. I just pressed my chest up against her. And when she felt, my force, that's when she just moved out the way, because she knew right then and there fist was going to be flying. So as Donnie went to go and throw up his fist at me, I literally walked right up to his face. I had my hands in my pocket, and I had him balled up in a fist. And I said, I'm waiting, throw it, because you found the right one with me. Maybe other people are afraid or intimidated of you, but I'm not. I've dealt with people like you, growing up. And instead of him lunging at me, he started to step back and started to move back to get out of the home. And at that time, that's when Candace decided to call the police. And when she called the police, Donnie ran. He jumped in his truck. Mind you, he's drunk. You know, he jumped in his truck and he drove away. That same night, maybe 20, 25 minutes later, the police wound up coming up the hill, and Donnie wasn't on the property at the time. And we were explaining to the police officer what had transpired there and stuff. And the police were like, do you happen to know where he went? And we were like, no. And next thing we know, Donnie's coming back up the hill in the truck. And that's when the police officers, proceeded to him, and they raised up their guns. They asked them to step forward in front of the vehicle. And that's when we were telling him he's drunk, like literally drunk. And so they gave him, I guess, whatever exam for a DUI, and in the police officer's eyes, he passed it. And then the police officer comes and says, well, in my family, we have drunks and they're coherent. So he's probably a coherent drunk. I don't care what you say. When you're drunk, you're drunk. There's no coherence in that whatsoever. You're under the influence completely. And then that's when Candace had told the police officer that he had a gun in the car. And he's a known felon. And the police officer's like, what? And that's when Donnie admitted that he did have the gun in there. And he tried to say it was a muzzle loader, but it wasn't. It was like a little 2-shot Dillinger that he had in his glove box, And I'm saying to myself, this man came all the way from Utah with that gun in his glove box? Like, what do you need a gun for? And you a known felon,
So that's what, Don got in trouble for. And then he broke his probation because he got pulled over with the DUI. And that's, why went to jail. And he's still on probation.
Back in my past, I've been arrested, and I know for a fact I can't carry a firearm. If I do, that's a felony charge, and I'm going to prison for a long, long time. Right. So I know for him to be doing that, you have no respect at all for the law or anybody else, And they basically arrested him and charged him, I guess, for domestic violence because Candace was just crying all over the place. They had this physical altercation.
So this is when she does that police report that says, I'm afraid for me and the kids. The kids are scared of him. He's violent and throws, whatever. We've seen that report several times.
And then they were talking with me, and I was telling them about me and him with the altercation, and they asked, would you, we can't ask you to press charges because you basically don't have no physical wounds on you. And I'm looking at the police officer like, dude, look at my tooth. Like, he literally chipped my tooth. And that's not a physical altercation or not to be arrested after he threw the beer bottle at me, and nothing really happened. They wind up taking him to jail for whatever happened between him and Candace.
Mm-hmm. How long did he stay in jail?
Not long, maybe 7 days, I think, tops. He was in there, I believe. Okay. And I remember Candace going down to the courthouse, and I was with her.
We need to verify how long Don was in jail there. Just to see. I've never done that.
Her mother was with her, all the children, and she went in there, and did the order of protection, and she had it, and she had to fill out some paperwork, and me and her mother had to help her fill out that paperwork. Mm-hmm. And then she went back in. I guess they gave it to her, and she came out, and I kept stressing to her, don't let him back in. This guy, something is wrong with him. Just from this altercation that I had with him, I know for a fact, this guy is brutal. This guy has no conscience whatsoever because you're physically abusive to a mother, a grandmother, that, like he admitted, she hated his guts. She had reason to hate this man's guts. This man was violent. He wasn't passive. He wasn't calm, and to hear these videos say, oh, he's a calm man, he fits this description. No, he's a calm man in public. You should see the man behind closed doors. That's a totally different person. It's like he switches, Like one day he's okay, and at nighttime it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation.
And what have I said and so many others said? Don has this rage and he spikes really quick and he rages for a minute and then it comes directly down and then it's, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that, I'll never do it again, please forgive me, resurrection stuff, Ellen White stuff, all of that stuff, right? But while he spikes and he's up there, he's the devil. It's kind of like, the classic DV, you'll see like where they're acting, and it's like the man will do something to the woman, rage, and then after that, she's getting ready to pack her bags, and he's like, "Oh no, sorry, baby, I'll never do it again." That kind of thing. That's very much Dawn. It's manipulative at its finest.
With him. One point he's fine and calm and laughing it up, and in an instant he changes to Jekyll, and he's raging and arguing and throwing things, and that's the type of man he is. And on a power trip, what he says must go, and everyone must listen, and he don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the thing that they would do whenever the kids were sleeping.
The thing that
with the
that
shaving.
Oh yes. There was times where it wasn't Donnie. This was before he came, but um, they would play pranks on the children, and while they would sleep, they would put shaving cream all over them while they were sleeping. And I'm like, at first I had laughed because I thought it was like a get back to the kids, because the kids did that to their mother one time, and everybody in the house was laughing. It was funny, and the mom was laughing too. Candace was laughing about it, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna get ya. I'm gonna get ya." But the kids are sleeping, and they wind up doing it to the children, and it was like nothing. I'll never forget that when Wyatt had woke up, he was crying because he got shaving cream in his eye, and he was like, "Why are you always doing that? When I'm fully asleep, why you don't do that when I'm like half asleep or something?" And he was literally in tears because the shaving cream got into his eyes. It was things like that that really bothered me a lot, and it wasn't until that altercation that I had with Donnie that he finally realized that he's in front of a man who's not going to back down. I think he was the type of man that when he approached you, he tried to approach you because he's not a little man. This man is tall, I'm short compared to him, but I have a good size on me. I can't say I could beat up everybody, but I can say I definitely can hold my own.
Right.
I could, as well as I can give a hit, is as well as I can take it. And I guess me standing up to him, shattered his foundation, because that's when Candace and her mother really started to pull away from him, as you could say.
We got a new member, Katie of New Hampshire. Welcome, Katie of New Hampshire. Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate your support for this channel. It truly, truly means a lot. Thank you so much. Welcome, Katie, to the family.
And they started to see what I was speaking about him, like he doesn't really love you. He's never going to change. He's going to keep doing the same thing. And, like you really.
Jose was questioned, I think, within 48 hours of Summer going missing. Like they contacted his son, and his son got in touch. Thank you, Happy.
Really got to get away from this man. And I really didn't understand what kind of grip he had over her at all. But I can tell you that she was at the point where she had enough of him, you know, and all it had to take were the right support people to be around to pull her away from him. And I feel I should have never left the way I did. That was another part of that video that bothered me as well, as he said that Grandis said that they kicked me out of that house. No, that's a bold-faced lie, because I stayed there 3 days after that altercation. I got paid for my job, and
Where were you working at?
I was working in a factory making cat towers, cat scratching post towers. I don't
Okay.
remember the name of the company.
Okay.
And Grandis would take me to work in the morning, and she would pick me up. That's guaranteed. And I took my paycheck to leave, and the day that I was leaving, you know, they all thought I was returning to one particular job, you know, until the day that I left, and I told everyone goodbye, and Grandis was taking me. That's when I revealed to Grandis exactly where I was going, and she was shocked when I told her, you know, like, what the hell? I said, I had to get out of there. I can't take it no more. If she winds up bringing this man back and I'm there, I'm going to wind up going to prison for seriously hurting this man.
Right.
Because it was putting more emotional and mental stress on me, and I'm trying to get myself together. And, you know, it was just giving me basically PTSD, just flashbacks of my childhood and things like that. And I just had to get away from there. And, you know, Grandis is like, I understand, Jose, you know, thank you for everything. You know, you've been a great help, you know. And I was like, just please be careful. Don't let Candace let that man back in the house, please. And she said, I promise you, Jose, I will try my best. I would try my best, you know, to try to keep her away, but it's hard. It's very
where
hard.
did Grandis end up taking you?
She wound up taking me to Rock Hill, South Carolina.
South Carolina, not North Carolina.
No, South Carolina. Rock.
That was a huge confusion in the beginning because everyone thought North Carolina, because I think Candace said in the original interview with Chris McDonough from the interview room, she said he went to North Carolina, but it's literally, it is in South Carolina, but it's on the border, very close to the border, few miles or so of North Carolina, but it's South Carolina. Okay.
I actually had met someone online, and she had offered, you know, to help me, and me and her wind up getting into a relationship, you know, and I wind up staying with her, and that's where Grandis had taken.
Okay, so it was not. Yes, I confirmed that it was South Carolina. Chris confirmed it was South Carolina. The police certainly, FBI certainly knew North Carolina.
No, it was South Carolina she had taken me, you know?
Okay.
So that's why, and just looking at these videos, I'm like, oh no, like, I understand why everybody kept looking for me. You know, it like totally started to make sense. Like, yeah, I'm that missing piece that everyone's trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Jose, I actually didn't mention this to you. People thought you were in the Philippines.
In the Philippines? No. No.
Yeah.
No, I was not in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I was literally, you could say I was within U.S. borders,
Yeah.
as you can say.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in U.S. territory.
Yes.
You know, I wasn't halfway across the world.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So you were saying that there was no walls in, or he was in Alaska. He was very much in Alaska. Doors, or was there walls in the bathroom?
No walls at all. It was literally open. And when I mean open, I mean someone could walk through the door and literally see you sitting on the toilet.
Mm. And when he says the door, he means the door to the house, not a door to the bathroom or anything. Thank you, Ziggy V. Thank you so much for the $5. Thank you, my love. Appreciate it. I've got pictures. I have a picture somewhere of the bathroom that's Wallace.
And what they did was they took two dressers, and pretty long ones. They were female dressers, actually, 6 drawer dressers, and they put one on top of the other, and they had a blanket covering it, and that's basically was the wall to the bathroom. You know, and the stand-up shower was right next to the toilet, and then the sink was to the other side. And then alongside that wall of the same room, that's where all the children's clothes were hanging up, you know, on in hangers and things like that. So basically, if one of the kids was to walk in there and you are on the toilet, the children can see you sitting on the toilet. So there was nothing to cover you.
Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Did Don or take showers with the kids, like to save hot water?
Yes, absolutely. I got into an altercation with him about that as well, because he had Summer in there with him. And I believe Summer was around 3 years old, almost 4 at this time. And I was saying to myself, you know, it's not a bathtub and you're not taking a bubble bath, you know? You're in a stand-up shower. You're a 50-something-year-old man, well above 6'2", and you have your young daughter that's pint sized. That's because that's what I called her, because she was so tiny, you know. And I'm pretty sure that when she looked up at her dad, you know,
She called her half pint, is what she called her.
She was looking at.
He called her
You know
half
what I
pint.
mean? And that was it. It was disgusting to me, and I literally flipped out on her. Like, you don't do that. I don't care if it's your daughter. She's a girl. Let her take a bath with her mother. Not.
I think see, this is the part that I'm not sure if I believe Jose entirely on this. I wish he would have done that, but I think he probably got Summer out of there as quick as he could, and whatever. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see him flipping out, because he wasn't there long, but he was there, and he didn't have a car, he didn't have anything else. And in one of the other interviews, you know, he was literally crying, and he's like, I should have done more, I should have called, I should have done more. And yeah, but you know, the thing is, there had been multiple calls. So would it have changed anything? I mean, they made their decision, you know, CPS.
With you want to take a bath with the boys, it's fine. They have the same equipment as you. You know, only a man can teach a boy to be a man, and a woman can teach a girl to be a woman. You know, that's my belief in that situation. And when I got into the fight with him about that, he literally stopped having Summer in the shower with him, and it was only the boys. So I think he knew that if he was to try to do that again, I was definitely going to step into that situation again. And it was only going to escalate to be even worse, because, you know, that's disgusting. You don't do things like that. I have a daughter, you know, and even though I went through problems with my children and my ex and stuff like that, I never took a bath with my daughter, ever.
No.
Ever. You know, and with my sons, even when they would take baths and I would go into the bath to check on them, I wouldn't even pull the curtain to look at them. I would talk to them through the curtain, to give them that sense of security that I'm not going to invade your privacy while you're in there, and I deserve that same respect as well. And, and to look at my little girl and to think of her, never once have I ever taken a bath with my daughter. Never once. That thought never even crossed my mind, ever. So it really bothered me. It was a real bad sinking feeling on what's been transpiring in that home well before I got there. Pieces started to, more pieces of the puzzle started to unravel, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here, what's going on there, and it wasn't until Donnie got home that I actually started to see what this man was about, that I realized, oh, I see what type of man you are. You one of those that a woman's supposed to be home cooking and cleaning, and you're the only one who's supposed to command the household because you're bringing money into the house, and it should have never been like that at all. He was definitely a control power freak, very much.
Yeah. Did Don ever have any extramarital affairs or anything of that nature?
As far as I know, yeah, absolutely. And he boldly admitted it. It's not like he didn't admit it. Of course he did. He admitted it and apologized for it and said, just let it go and let's continue from here. But when you're talking about, I would understand for you to say that when it's only one time you do it. But when you consistently do that over a period of the years that you have been together, no, I don't think so. You have no regret, no remorse, no respect. To you, a woman is just a piece of meat. She's not actually a woman to you. She's just something that gives you pleasure, and then you just toss it to the side when you're done and over with. And then what he would do is blame the alcohol. Well, if the alcohol is making you do that, then I suggest you stop drinking, because that's not good, because your wife is here waiting for you. She loves you. She wants to be with you. And you're over here having extramarital affairs in the home while your wife is sleeping downstairs with your daughter. That was like the lowest pinnacle that I could think of a person to be. How could you do something like that? Like, where's your mindset for that? Like, your wife is downstairs and you're sleeping with another woman upstairs, and then you turn around and blame it on the alcohol? No, that didn't sit right with me either, at all, whatsoever.
Right. Do you know who the person's was that he was
It was some lady that lived about a half a mile down the road from them.
on Ben Hill Road?
Was, not on the same road that they lived on the main road. As you coming down their road, when you come out the driveway, you hook the left, and then when you hit the main road, you would make a right, like if you were going back into Kingsport.
Okay.
And a half mile down that road, that's where the woman lived at, and she was married. She had a husband, but she was a drug user and a pill popper, and supposedly she was down and out, and he was trying to help her. And oh yeah, you were trying to help her. You just took advantage of a woman who needed help and used the drugs and alcohol to get between her legs, when all you had to do was go downstairs to your wife.
Yeah.
Your wife is, I'm pretty sure, as much as she loved him, I'm pretty sure he would have went down them stairs and said, well, baby, I want to do something. She would have graciously did it.
Right.
Like, you're my husband, of course. Come on, let's get it on.
Right.
But no, he didn't. He chose to stay up there and do that with that woman. And then you turn around and you keep apologizing for what you did, but your actions are saying otherwise.
Right.
Did you ever see the lady who lived across the street and her husband?
Only from a vehicle, never personally speak and introduce me to her, because every time Candace would drive by, her demeanor would change. Like, she hated that woman very much, and she will always consistently say, we opened up our home to help her, and for her to do that with my husband, if I didn't have my children, I would beat her ass with a bat. That's what she would always say every time we drove past that house. It wasn't,
Oh.
like.
No, Jose, I think we're getting confused here.
Right.
Okay.
She means directly. What do you mean? I see you.
Jody Sue.
Okay. Did you know Jody Sue?
No, I did not.
And I think her
I
husband's
didn't.
name was Balt. But I would have beat her with a bat, is what she said. Which Can is obviously known for. Baltimore or something.
Physical.
Like that.
I've heard of them, but never like physically, met them, hung out with them, or anything like that. No.
Gotcha. Did you ever hang out with another, or not hang out, but did anybody ever come to Don and Candace's house, or did you ever see or talk to another guy named, what's his name, Don as well? I see you, Don Sheriff. What's his last name?
Oh yeah, I think he was a good friend of theirs, actually, like a real good friend. The one time that I did meet him, he was going there to talk with Donnie to ask if he could rent a piece of the property for him to put a camper there for him to live.
What's his last name? I see you.
Sharpay.
Okay, yeah.
Sherbay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If Jose has that right, maybe, I still don't know.
I remember that because I was like, that sounds like ice cream,
Yeah.
I remember giggling
That's
about
a distinct last name. Yeah. Did you ever meet Don's son?
Which one? I only met the little ones. I've never met the other children from the
Don
previous...
Cherfree's son. His name is, what, I forget his name. Is his name Don too? I see you. Can you unmute?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
It's Don and Don Jr.
Oh no, I've never met any of his other children from his previous marriage or relationship.
No. I'm not talking about Don Wells. I'm talking about Don, the neighbor.
Oh no.
Well, he's actually not a neighbor. He is actually, his girlfriend lives on that street, but he's there a lot. But
Okay.
But
no.
He's got a son that's wanted, or not wanted, but he's how can we explain that? And he did some really bad things with regarding to
Images.
children.
Child images.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, actually, no. I didn't personally meet him or know about that actually until we actually spoke. That was a real bombshell when you told me that. I was like, what? So no, I didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
My main concern is really Summer. Like, where is she? Like, if Candace is hearing this, Candace, it's me, Jose.
Be nice.
The man you spent numerous nights crying to me on your kitchen table. Like, please, for the love of God, if you know anything, just take the blame, girl. Take the blame. Let it all out. Stop hiding things. Just, that girl loved you too, as much as she loved her dad. And you were her world to her. When her dad wasn't there, you were there. I just don't understand what's wrong with you, Candace, because what I see of you doing on these live streams, this is not the woman I remember. It is not, so I don't know where your mind is at. I don't know what's going on with you internally, but you need to break away and finally come clean. You got to know something, Another thing, Candace, you know for a fact how many times we had to go searching for Summer. Did you forget the time that we found her behind that house that she was, that we had to follow the path and we found her and she was outside with no t-shirt and no shoes with just pajama pants? Or how about the time that Donnie found her all the way down the driveway, almost to the street? And
So this has always had me perplexed. One of them is lying. Either it's Jose or it's Don and Candace. Because Don and Candace said she's never, ever walked away. She would not do that. They put the fear of God in her that she would never walk away. She never has, she never would. And to be honest with you, in Summer's case, I mean, in 2 minutes, it's just not going to happen. Especially walking down to the inn. Uh, thank you, Miss Kirby. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Um, so Don and Candace said, she never would. And Jose said, well, she's walked to the bottom of the driveway. She's, walked out of the yard before. So it's interesting to me. It's very interesting. Um, I don't know. They've said from like literally like the moment Don got there, he knew that she was taken. That's his words. So
he came back up with her, beating her butt, like if she was a grown child. Did you forget that too, Candace? Please, for the love of God, say something. This is your chance. I don't know why you're protecting, why or who you're protecting, but you need to just speak out, girl. This is your chance for you to finally take your life back, for you to finally say, I got my life back in control. I got my free will back. No one's telling me what to do. This is me. And, this is your chance. You should have been did it, but I understand years of torment. It does it to you. Believe me, I know. I've been through it. I've been dragged, hurt, beat, abused. I know, girl. Trust me. I know many times we've sat crying about this. Girl, you really need to come out and just let everybody know what's going on, because the more and more you hold, the more and more you.
thank you, Aunt Cherry. Thank you. You're a hoot. You really are.
You hide, the more and more the punishment is going to be when you see God. I'm telling you, it don't have to be a man to judge you. What you need to worry about is the judgment of Jesus, because it's going to be bad, because you know that.
Right here, you can hear it in Jose's voice. He is really, really talking to Candace right now. Really talking to Candace.
Summer is innocent, really, purely innocent. She doesn't know what it is to be racist. She doesn't know what it is to steal. She doesn't know what it is to be abusive. All she knew was to be a little kid, happy, joyous, full of energy, always wanted to swing, go outdoors, fish, swim. This is your daughter. She came from you. You bared her for 9 months. You know, I envy you for that, girl. Most of us men, we envy you women because we can't give life and you can. God blessed you with that, and if you really want to redeem yourself, the proper way is for you to actually speak out.
Amen.
Don't lawyer up. Why are you going to lawyer up? There's no sense in that. You're only making yourself look guilty to everyone instead of you standing as a strong woman that I always told you you was. You always had a voice. You were just too scared to use it. Well, this is your chance to use it because he's nowhere near you. He can't hurt you no more. He has no more control at all. His power is now in the hands of the correctional facility.
That's right.
He is where he belongs, where he should have been.
Yes.
And that's what I'm really asking from her. And I know she knows my voice. And the people who are watching this stream who know me,
Mhm.
they know it's really me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of them have their mouth and eyes wide open, the ones that know me. And
Yeah. The next interview, Jose, we got him on StreamYard and he shows himself, and Candace, Andrew, Allie, all of them, Don said it was him. I knew it was, but just saying.
I know in their hearts, they're like, oh shit, it's really him.
Mhm.
And it's like I said, if they ever gave me a chance and they ever told me to go to court, I will go there. You could abuse me, you could say whatever you want. But I know the truth and God knows the truth.
Amen.
And I've seen enough for me to know that Candace was in fear of that man.
Mhm.
And so was her.
Candace pretty much did turn on Don while he was in jail. You know, I've got a photo. I mean, she looks so much better when she was away from Don. She blamed Don, that he was a suspect, out of her words, Candace did. I've also shown, I've got the divorce papers that she's filled out and the letters that she wrote Don saying she wants to separate. But it is what it is.
Mother.
Jose,
They
I
were
can't tell
scared
you the
to death.
people who's just supporting you right now, just saying that they
This
can hear it
this
in your voice and just the
this
support you're
guy,
getting.
I mean, the night that I got into that altercation with him, all I was thinking about was every time this man laid a hand on her,
Thank you, sweet Canadian
every
cookie, my
time
love. Thank
he
you.
dropped the F bomb, I would look at this house so disgusting while you're sitting there as this arrogant man who thinks you're entitled to have it like that when you're not. You ain't no better than me, and I am no better than you. And I told Donnie that right to his face. This was before I swung at him. I said, you ain't no better than me, and I'm no better than you. You want to throw punches? We can do this, because as hard as you can hit, I can give it back. But best believe, you better make sure I don't get back up, because every time you knock me down, I'm coming. And I'm going to get back up until my last breath. Until I can't get back up, you are never going to keep me down. If I got to be the one man to be that tip of the sword to pierce through your skin and your heart, I'm going to be the one to do it.
Right. Can you tell us if so you did say Summer had wandered off before.
Numerous times, numerous. This girl, she knew how to lock doors, unlock it. She always played hide and seek. I remember one video I was looking at with the refrigerator that was outside. That was her favorite hiding spot when she played hide and seek with the boys.
But
That was her go-to. And if not there, inside Grandis's camper, in the bathroom.
okay.
I remember this clearly.
Mhm.
So it's not like something that I heard. I remember it. I used to be outside watching them running around, laughing, having the time of their life.
To put it on a lighter note for a moment, tell us about Summer. What was Summer like?
Oh my God. Summer reminded me a lot of my little girl. A lot. Like, just thinking about her, I just want to break down because, she doesn't know what's right and wrong. She's still in the process of learning how to speak properly, brush her teeth, keep herself clean, but she was alive. She alive. And I mean, us as adults, we could have learned from her. And I say that with conviction because that girl loved. She didn't care. She loved unconditionally and had this biggest, beautiful smile and this loud laugh that the minute she started laughing, you had no choice but to laugh. If you got hurt, she was the first one there. Oh, you got boo boo. And she would run in and grab a rag, throw water on it. Let me help you. That was Summer. That was her. Completely her. And it was the picture that you wound up showing me that she's laying there on the milk jugs. That is the nicest clothes I have ever seen on Summer. Because Summer
that's
was
the nicest
always
what?
playing nicest set of clothes
Nicest
she's
set of
ever
clothes.
owned. Because Summer hated clothes. She hated to have a shirt on. She hated shoes on her feet. She will always be in just her pajama pants, running outside, full of mud and dirt, but she's being a normal child. What kid doesn't do that? You're 3, 4 years old at the time. But of course, children are going to do that, and that was her. So when I seen her in the outfit just laying there, that's typical Summer. She used to always pass out like that.
So she would fall asleep on milk jugs.
On anything that was there, whether it was milk or a bag. I remember a couple of times she would say, Jose, I want you to sit next to me. And I would sit next to her and she would put her head right on my shoulder, my arm and my shoulder, and conk right out, like literally knock out.
Yeah.
Because she was so tired.
I think last night you said that she had fell asleep with her
on a tire.
Yeah.
I remember that one time too, in the back of her grandmother's silver Silverado, where they were in the back, and Candace had it very cleaned out. She was.
When you say the back, you mean the bed of the truck, but it had a cardboard on it.
Flatbed. Exactly, it had the
or not a cardboard, but
cover.
the cover. Yeah.
Yes, it did, and Candace had it cleaned out very well, especially if Summer was there. She didn't want her granddaughter getting hurt at all whatsoever, so she will always have it cleaned out. And when they would go back there, it just wasn't Summer, the boys too, Waylon and Wyatt, they would hang out back there too. When Hunter used to come over and hang out, even he would hang out in the back of that truck and sometimes pass out with Summer, and Summer would just pass out anywhere. If she got tired enough, like as we spoke before, I told you one time, she got so tired, she was on her knees. She was on her knees and she was laying on a chair and with her head and her arms crossed, and she literally fell asleep just like that. Like conked out. And I'm looking at her like, Summer, baby, and she was out cold. Like if you would have pushed her the right way, she just would have hit the floor. And I remember picking her up and bringing her to the bed and putting her down and putting her favorite blanket on top of her, and she would conk out for like a good 2-3 hours. That girl had so much energy, it was amazing.
Yeah. Let's see here. Was there any other neighbors that would come to the house?
No, it was pretty much isolated. Like in a way, I felt like they lived a double life. Like one way they would live this way, and then their other side would come out when no one else was around. And I think that they were just hiding things. And I think when they let me stay in that home, I was the monkey wrench that was thrown into that well-oiled machine, as you could say. Because Donnie had it a certain way until I was placed in there.
Right.
And once I was placed in there, you could say I was that monkey wrench. I was destroying every gear possible because I kept showing the kids and them, you shouldn't live like this. This is the way it should be done. And when they were saying, oh my God, I've never seen a man cook. Like, who are you? And I'm like, what? I was like, you know how many of us are out here? Like, there
Mhm.
are a lot of dads that do this. Like, I'm not the only one. And they're there all this time. I've known Donnie, or I've been with Donnie. He's never done anything like what you're doing. And I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? You know? So it was a bombshell to me to know that he didn't cook, he didn't clean. When he came home, he had everyone else do the cooking and cleaning while he's sitting in the kitchen getting drunk. And that
Wow.
was his style.
Um, was there any neighbors around there that did any type of drugs?
There was a family down the hill from them that were meth addicts. They used to literally smoke meth on their front lawn, but I guess they didn't give a crap because they're in the sticks. You know, nobody ever.
I wonder who he's talking about here. Pick any address on Ben Hill, pretty much, but I don't know who he's talking about.
Went around, so I guess they felt they could do whatever they want. I remember one time going down there, they were having sex on the lawn, literally, butt naked. And we're not talking like pants down,
I don't
no,
remember that.
fully butt naked, no shoes, no clothes around, and they're just having sex on the front lawn, high as hell.
Wow.
And
Was
I'm looking at that like, what the hell is going on here?
what
And
is
I
the
just
thread?
turned around and walked right back up the path, back into where I was staying at.
Was there ever any run-ins? Like, was there any?
Oh yes, Donnie had a run-in with them one time. They were smoking meth, and Summer and the boys were driving their four-wheelers, and they just happened to be around that area. And Donnie.
Oh, look at them! Summer and them were driving their four-wheelers. Which there's a video of Summer on the back of that motorcycle that Candace and Dawn said that she didn't, and I shared a picture of her on it. There's a video out there. It might be a TikTok of Summer on the back, but Jose just said it too.
He was looking for them, and Donnie flipped on them. We're like, "What the hell are you doing using these drugs out here?" And
Sherry, you're
he's
fine,
like
honey. You're
screaming at
fine.
them, turning red and everything. And then come to find out, he's doing the same thing too. I didn't realize he was even into drugs until Candace and her mom were telling me, him disappearing to Mexico. Like for 2 weeks at a rip. We're not talking 1, 2, 3 days. 2 weeks? You on a drug binge? How much money are you making from this job that you can pick up from Tennessee and drive straight across the border and live there for 2 weeks and then come back like nothing ever happened and return back to work like he was never gone? It never really made sense to me at all.
So, Don, he had went to Mexico
Oh
allegedly.
yeah. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. That was something that, when they got into their drunk rage arguments, she would constantly throw in his face. You're always disappearing. How about the time you went to Mexico and we couldn't find you for 2 freaking weeks? Your sister had to go down there and drag your ass back home.
His sister?
I believe it was Donnie's sister that went down there and found him and dragged his ass all the way back. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Wow. So Don's
Yeah.
sister, one of his sisters, allegedly went and got.
Yeah, that was what they were telling me.
Also, I think it was Mary that also talked about that as well.
Me, and I've heard in drunken rage. When people, before they become full-blown drunks, as the alcohol setting in, there is truth behind what drunk people say.
Sure.
Because it's like a truth serum.
Mhm.
So as she is letting it out, she is in tears, like she's reliving
Oh, I mean, personally, I mean, kids ride, motorcycles and stuff all the time. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with kids riding motorcycles or anything. I had a three-wheeler by the time I was in second grade. So when I was a kid, like a gas one. So, no, I don't think it's just the fact of lying. You know what I mean? It's the country, it's kids. Yeah, they make them for kids, play on them. I think they should wear helmets, obviously, uh, which you didn't see in any of the pictures or video that I saw of them wearing helmets, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But no, I mean, it was just the fact of why lie about Summer being on the back of it. You know what I mean?
That experience every time she mentioned it, because she would break down and in tears drop to her knees, like all her life forces being drained out of her, just talking about that one time, you know. And when she spoke about him cheating, on her while she's downstairs, that would be another memory that would drain her emotionally, physically. Like, to be around these people and looking at myself, I knew what she was going through with that torment, with those memories just sitting there and no way for you to vent it to someone who actually gives a fuck, you
Right.
know? And here I come, and and this is not one, two, three conversations. This is multiple conversations over the time I'm there with her in the kitchen, and she is in tears, releasing it to me, and I would cry with her, and I would share personal stories with her about me, just to let her know, hey girl, you're not alone. You are not alone in this world at all. I feel that pain. I know that suffering. I'm here for you. Yeah, I wasn't there for her, like sexually, but as emotional support, I was there. Like, don't worry about it, girl. We got this. I'm gonna help you as best as I can. Yeah, I'll show you certain things that you can do to help, you cope with things. But, the years of torment from what this man has done to her has literally broken her mind,
Mhm.
you know?
Um, was there any other instances that you had saw Don hit the kids, throw things at the kids, scream at anything like that, any type of
Oh, he
physical?
was he was always doing that. Always, always, and always constantly threatening them with the belt. Always. This brown leather belt that had roses on it and horses on it. I would never forget that belt ever, because that belt was at least a quarter inch thick, 100% leather. It had this brass buckle on it that almost looked like a cowboy buckle, but it had the little tooth for you to slide into the hole. And I only remember that belt because um, Waylon and Wyatt got into a fight over a cupcake, and he got in between them, and he whipped the belt out and he slapped it on the table. And he slapped it so hard that the belt mark put an indentation on that table. Like it, and that's when I knew, oh my God, like, are you really gonna hit them? And I started to get nervous because when I grew up, I was beat with belts and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's like traumatizing me. And my first initial thought was, if he swings this belt at one of these kids, I'm lunging at him.
Yeah.
I don't care. I am lunging at this man. But he would never do that. I've never seen him do that. But as far as putting hand to butt, oh yeah, I have seen him slap Wyatt. I have seen him throw Waylon once. Summer was the only one who never got like physically threatened in that sense, until that one time that I seen Donnie actually pull her pants down coming up the driveway, spanking her ass. You don't do that. You could disappear. I don't want you leaving the house. So, when I saw the video that he's like, oh, well, I don't know, but she's intelligent. She might be able to open the door. I'm saying to myself, you effing liar. Do you know how many times this girl can open that door with ease? And this isn't something that's rocket scientist. This girl would be up before everyone in the house. And when we were getting up, well, at the time I was working, but before I started working, there was a time where I got up. It was 7:15, maybe 7:30 in the morning. I come up the stairs to go use the bathroom, and the front door is wide open. And then when I go and I look through the window, summer's on the swing, and everybody's sleeping in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I know personally the doors were locked, because I was one that before I would go to sleep, I would check the doors, to make sure everyone was safe, because three women in the house, well, two women, a little girl, and two boys, and I'm the only male there, and I'm in a new area. I don't know anybody, and where I grew up at, your ears are perking and your eyes are open, like, you really don't fully trust the area that you're in because you don't know it. And I will always check the doors to make sure no one could break in or push the doors at all. But 7:30 in the morning, and this 3-year-old is outside on the swing, and everyone is out cold.
Did you ever see Candace hit the kids?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But that's when they got out of line with her. It wasn't like she always beat them. No.
Not like
there
Dawn.
were times where, there were times where the boys would definitely test her patience.
Right.
Like you could tell, let's see how far we could push mommy, And most kids, they do that. They always do that. They test the waters, but they would constantly do that to her. And she would hold back and hold back and hold back. And I guess from her holding it so much, and then there'll be those instances where she finally just loses it, and she either slapped them or like grab them by the arm or pinch their ear, things like that. But as far as like really being brutal with them, no.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jose, you had really no, FBI, and you have talked to FBI and everything, but you had no idea all of this stuff was on YouTube till last night, correct?
Correct. I stood up the whole night, shaking, hair standing up, in tears, with regret, a heavy heart, because even when I was there, I feel as a father, I'm disgraced with myself because I couldn't do that with my own children. And I'm disgusted with my actions that I should have just fucking picked up the phone. Yo, this is going on. These kids are living like this, drugs, alcohol, and instead I turned a blind eye,
He beat himself up. I can't tell you how much this man beat himself up. Really, really regrets it. But then again, I think, how many times had they been called? How many times have they been called? Nothing was done.
And it's not till I got my mental health back that I started to realize, a famous saying, evil will always prevail when good men stand by and do nothing. And that statement is so true and hits home so hard because I was there. I was the person that literally defended them. I washed your clothes. I fed you. I made sure you were in bed, safe, sound, loved, comforted. I did whatever it took to make them know everything's going to be all right, and I had the chance to do something. And in that phase of me going through my mental issues, I was a coward.
No, please don't say that, because
myself.
You have to no, you wasn't a coward. You have to take care of your mental health too. I mean, you were going through a divorce as well. I mean, it's not like you really wanted to stay with Candace and Don. I mean, the house wasn't available. That was the only place you could go at that point, really.
Yes.
And so, what was I
But
going?
yeah, after looking at the video, and I am going through it and going through it and looking at the interviews, and then I hear other people talking about the way she's behaving now, that is so long that, Summer's been gone. And as I'm looking at these videos, I'm appalled, like literally disgusted by her actions. I'm saying to myself, where's the Candace I know? That is not the woman I know, that I remember
So you mean
at all.
the woman
That is not
that you're
yeah,
viewing
the
now
woman.
is not the Candace that you know?
Exactly. That is not the Candace I know. It's
Okay.
not. That is definitely not the same woman I remember.
So, I told you, I see you and I told you last night about uh, how she went, how Grandis went to the s- the hospital. Don went to work. I told you all of that. They got back home. I told you where all they went. I gave you the full story. Everybody in here pretty much knows it. The full story. Uh, they planted flowers, and Grandis and Candace was over at Grandis's fixing her knee brace. Candace said Summer wanted to go inside. Candace said she walked Summer from the little camper to the house, which is very close.
That's a lie. She didn't have, no, never that. There's enough times I've seen Summer go right to grandma's camper alone, unattended, without an adult, while Candace is in the kitchen and, drinking away.
Yeah. There you go. While Candace is in the kitchen drinking away. Wow. Yeah, well, you told me last night. You said
when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my God, what a bullshit lie! Like you are straight lie. Like what's wrong with you, Candace? Like really, what's going on in your mind? Why you keep defending this man and lying about you walking her over? No, you don't. You would literally tell her to go in the house. You know how to open the door. That's how she would talk to Summer, because she knew how to open and close the door.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a guess. I knew this for a fact. I've seen her do it with my own eyes.
Well, there's no purpose. Thank you, Reggie. There's no purpose of Candace walking Summer over. Grandma's sitting in the door. Candace is standing in front of her. Summer is allegedly right there. Candace said the house door was open. The boys are in the house. You're up on a hill in the middle of nowhere. Why would you walk her over? The girl was playing at 7:30 in the morning on a swing set. I've never ever believed that. Candace walked her over. Never. I don't believe the planting either.
The girl is intelligent. She's very, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew how to get in and out of that house. And I always tell people, if she didn't know how to get in and out of that house, why the hell was that sofa in front of that bottom door?
That's a good way to back to the sofa to look at it. Yeah.
And then I remember us also having the conversation when you said, oh, they got tint over the window. They never had tints over that window, ever. You could walk up the driveway and literally see right through the like, what's wrong with you, Candace? Like, really, what's going on in your mind? Why you keep defending this man and lying about you walking her over? No, you don't. You would literally tell her to go in the house. You know how to open the door. That's
That's
how she would talk
incredible.
to Summer, because she knew how to open and close the door.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a guess. I knew this for a fact. I've seen her do it with my own eyes. You know, the girl is intelligent. She's very, very smart. But she knew how to get in and out of that house. You know, and I always tell people, if she didn't know how to get in and out of that house, why the hell was that sofa in front of that bottom door?
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
You know, and then I remember us also having the conversation when you said, "Oh, they got."
Yeah, that sofa's been gone 6 years, according to Candace. Don says it's outside. Joe Billy says it's in the building. Right? And why was that sofa there at the door? If she couldn't get in and out.
got tint over the window. They never had tints over that window, ever. You could walk up the driveway and literally see right through the windows, clear as day.
Okay. So Candace says that she walked Summer over, that she told the boys to keep an eye on their sister. She said she saw Candace walking through the kitchen, and she said she goes over to Grandis's. She's there for about 2 minutes, and then she comes back over, and Candace says, "Boys, where's your sister?" And they said, "Oh, Mom, she went downstairs to play." Candace said she went downstairs and she couldn't find Summer, and that she immediately freaked out and started screaming, and she was just, quote, gone, end quote. So
Did anybody ask her if that cellar door was open? Was the couch there? Because that would have been my question.
yeah.
Was the couch still in front of the door?
Do you think
Because
it's
when Donnie got there, I remember Donnie shifting the couch over because he was bringing wood into the house to keep the house warm, because they had a wood stove in the.
Thank you, Susie, for the Cash App. Thank you so much, my dear. Appreciate your donation.
Basement.
It's very kind of you.
And that's how they would heat up the house.
Do you think it's possible that somebody could come up that hill, take the child, knowing exactly where she is, and that there's adults around and kids around, and that the boys had been there allegedly all day by themselves?
Oh, hell no. With all them dogs they had there, are you crazy? Them dogs would chew you up if they didn't know who you were.
Yeah, they would.
Even came after me the first time I ever came out of the truck. That Candace and her mother had to yell at the dogs, you know, like, don't come after me.
Right.
Because them dogs.
There you go. There you go. Dolly Q, thank you so much for your membership. Welcome to the family. Please welcome Dolly Q to the family. There you go, folks.
Dogs are vicious. And I mean that. If you're a stranger, them dogs are going to come chew your ass up. Like, there's no question. And what also is real puzzling to me is,
I'm also going to show a video of the dogs up there one day, and they're barking very loudly. You can be at the bottom of the hill and they'll bark. You know, they'll come down the driveway. Been there multiple times.
you can't come up that driveway without nobody knowing you coming up.
Right.
You gotta know.
Well,
because where the house sits at, it's next to basically a cliff on the other side. If you step the wrong way, you're literally falling a good 50, 60 feet down.
Yeah.
Right into the street, to the road that's there.
Hey, I want to make something clear in chat here. The dogs that are there now they're just puppies. They got rid of the rest of the dogs that was there. They were just puppies whenever we were at the house. So the person who said
Okay.
that, hey Kelly, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um,
Okay.
but you know, I mean, even if someone was, say for instance, laying in wait up at that house, right? Someone was all in the
You
house
would
or
have
something.
known. They would have known where Candace's camper is at. She has basically what I call a bird's eye view of the entire property, a full 360, because she had windows that faced the house. She had another window that could see to the left and to the right, and then the back window that was where the kitchen station part was to that camper was the cliff, and she could see the whole 180 from there too. She had the bird's eye view. If anyone came up that hill, whether they're puppies or not, when people approach puppies, they get excited.
Right.
You know, they start running around. You know, they may not bark like with anger, but they're gonna make some kind of noise.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna at least go toward you and want to, you know,
exactly
pet you or something or something. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Grandis's camper was the bird's eye view
Mhm.
of everything. Another picture I saw from watching a news clip, when they showed it from above the land property, there's a blue truck that's there. It looks like a Ford. I believe it was a Ford. It had no tires or anything on it. That truck was never where it was in that picture. It was literally to the opposite side of it, and it was next to a shed where there was a copperhead there that we couldn't even catch. We had to call animal control to try to catch the copperhead, and it eluded everyone. You know, once in a while we would see it and go try to grab a shovel or something just to try to kill it, and it would get away. You know, they lost 2 cats that way from that snake biting it.
Oh, really? I don't think it was a snake or anything like that. Personally, if it was a snake bite, they would have took her straight. That's something, you know. I don't think it was that.
Find the cat. Yeah.
Oh, could you tell? Could you, guys? I want to give you guys a trigger warning on this. By the way, could you tell the time with the hunter and Summer and the cat with Dawn?
Oh yeah.
Trigger warning. Mods trigger warning. Because I think I recall what this is. So I'll wait for that to go in chat. Thank you. What you're about to hear may have animal situations.
Yes. So there was a time where Hunter had gotten Summer a little cat. It was a beautiful kitten, white and gray. And I remember where Hunter had brought it, you know, everyone was freaking out, you know, because it looked so cute. And Summer loved it. Summer would carry that baby kitten everywhere. If she went to bed, if she went to the bathroom, once she tried to take the kitten with her to, you know, get wet in the sink. And I remember the kitten jumping down and running away. So when Donnie had came back, he didn't want the cat in the house. He was irate. And he got so upset and he yelled at Summer, I told you I don't want the fucking cat in the house. And he grabbed the kitten, opened the door, and literally threw the kitten in between the dogs, and the dogs shredded that kitten to bits. Right in front of Summer. She was screaming, crying, and everything. But that's what Don did. And he was like, now you fucking learn what I say. What goes in this house is my way, and you got to listen one way or another. And I'm not getting you another fucking kitten. That's exactly what he told Summer. And she cried. I mean, she cried to sleep. That's how hurt she was. That was her baby. You know, a baby who had a baby, you could say, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
was her baby, that was her child.
Like I'm
She
literally
made,
shaking right
you
now.
know, she took care of that kitten. She fed the kitten, you know, always was with the kitten constantly. It
Mhm.
wasn't like she just played with it for like an hour and then shoo, go away. No, the kitten was always with her. If she sat down, watched TV, the kitten's on her lap. Or if not on her lap, like
Did you and Don
right
get in?
next.
Did you and Don get into it over that?
Oh yeah, I was asking him what the hell he was doing, that why he did that, and he basically said, "I'm the dad, and you know, you don't tell me how to raise my children." Is
Yes.
basically how he said.
So
You know,
for
it was
peace,
bad.
pugs,
You
and
know,
understanding, there's your answer.
that's the type of man he was. You know, you don't tell me how to raise my own children, but yet what you just did traumatized her. You know, that could be something she'll never forget for the rest of her life. You know, children remember things not clearly but vividly. Those
Mhm.
memories don't go away.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
especially if you become emotionally attached to the animal. And I believe that the kitten was her support animal. You
Hmm.
know, it gave her emotional support
Yeah.
and comfort, you could say. And he basically took it away from her.
Can you tell us about there have been many, many stories of Don doing things to animals. There's another story. What was it? A dog. Something to do with a dog. Some of you might remember in chat. I can't remember. Try to think of it. About the let's see here. Where I see. Do you have any questions before? I see you.
Well, that girl just asked a good question about their health care. Did um how was their health care? I'm trying to
You know anything about their health care? It wasn't. I mean, yeah, he kicked a dog, but it was something like the dog's. I want to say it's like its intestines or something like that. It was really bad. It was really bad.
Well, basically, as far as I know, when they had appointments, Candace did take them. It wasn't like she avoided it. No, she actually did take them to their appointments and kept them up with their immunizations. You know, she was doing what she got to do, even though it was chaotic in there. You know, she was basically trying to do the best that she can. But in my eyes, it's hard for a woman to do that when you're emotionally broken, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's something, it took me a few years to realize, you know, when I was going through.
There's that incident too, but this is I don't know. It was something I can't remember. I'll have to sit down and think, but it was really bad.
The divorce, it hurt people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it never really sank in until I was going through what I was going through. And then I witnessed all of that going through, and it was a wrecking ball to make me realize, holy crap, you know, that line is so true.
Yes.
You know, people who are hurt, they hurt people. They don't intentionally do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's all you know,
Mm-hmm.
how can you show love if all you know is hurt? You
Yes.
know?
So we know that allegedly Don had went to the to Mexico on drug
Hmm.
runs, right?
Hmm.
Allegedly.
There was another time he disappeared for 2 weeks and he went to a drug house that was in the neighboring town.
Yes. Yeah, I want to get to that, but
Yeah.
but
Candace actually found him and drug him out of the house and dragged him all the way back home.
So
And he was strung out.
in the neighboring town.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Kingsport or the other town.
Okay, so
On the opposite end.
Don was in a drug house.
Yes, correct. He took all the money he got paid for, never came home to get food or anything like that, and he was gone for about 2 weeks and blew all the money in a drug house using drugs.
Okay. So he
done that every time he got tax money or any
do you
big
know
money.
so he took all the money. Candace
Yeah,
didn't.
he worked
She didn't have.
and she didn't have nothing. She basically, at that time, Candace was friends with Allie. And believe it or not, that woman, Allie, has a heart of gold. Like, she really does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a tough woman right there. Strong, powerful, tough woman. And that woman would take her little bit of money to make sure that them children ate properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that time because Grandis literally jumped in the Silverado, went down to Kingsport, picked up Allie, and Allie said, "Let's go to Walmart."
Yeah.
And she went to Walmart and literally.
Hey y'all. Emma with Crime Stories Obsessed sent this to me. I'll play it through my microphone right now. Listen to Don talk. I think he's talking to Emma here. Listen to this.
Somebody's like, "Oh, I love you, Summer, and I just want to save you from a bad situation. And I just want to save you from a bad situation." Time when someone takes a little girl or whatever, or boy even, it's for 90% of the time it's because predators. So it's not good. Somebody has hurt her sexually.
Want to take her from a bad situation. It's hard to hear. You still can't hear it? Okay, let me share it. 1 second. Okay, hold on. Sound is worse. Okay. Perfect. Let me fix this and
She must have spent almost $300 on just food, and we're not talking dollar foods. We're talking real
meals
for the children.
Right, stuff to make meals out of.
Back. Oh yeah, so bottled waters. I remember because it was me, Hunter, Allie, Candace, and we had Wyatt and Wayland with us at the time too, and we were all unloading the back of that cab of that truck, bringing the food inside and everything. Like, she even bought dog food for the dogs. Like, she didn't have to do that. And that's the type of woman Allie is. Like, if you treat her right, treat her kind with respect, that woman will give you the world.
Can you
And she loves Summer.
Yes.
So much.
Can you tell us or can you tell the audience rather how you said just so they can get a picture of the interior of that house when they were feeding the dogs with that dog food? Remember you was telling me last night?
Yes. It would be the boys mainly that would do it, Wyatt or Whalen. These are 50-pound bags of dog food that would be right next to the refrigerator, and I remember Donnie telling them, feed the dogs, they're hungry. And I remember Wyatt went to grab the scooper and went to scoop, the dog food, and his arm was just covered in roaches, you know? And he just walked like nothing, like it was a normal day, and just threw the food all over the front. And the dogs are there barking, screaming at each other, eating the food, and roaches are scattering all over the place. And it was always 2 scoops of dog food once a day. That's the dogs only ate once a day, and they were lucky if they got a bowl full of water, because if they filled the bowls with water and they knocked it over, they wouldn't refill them, you know.
Wow.
hmm
Um. So, did you ever date Allie or have any type of romantic relationship with her?
No, I did. We got drunk one time and got it on. Yeah,
Okay.
we
Okay.
did. But as a relationship wise, no.
Okay. But it was just like one time.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
But as a relationship, no. She knew I didn't want a relationship. She knew what I was going through. They all did.
Right.
They all did. I literally broke.
Yes, please make sure you check out Crime Stories Obsessed. My friend Emma, she is wonderful at what she does, and link is I see you just dropped it. She has a lot of firsthand information from Grandis and the Wells. Definitely.
down to them and told them everything that was happening with me, so they all knew. But as far as a relationship type, no.
Mhm.
But yeah, we had sexual encounter, of course. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Okay.
I won't.
Right. Can you tell me when is the last time someone asked, when's the last time you spoke with Andrew Hiltz, Hunter's dad?
3 years ago.
So you haven't spoken with him at all.
At all. The last time I spoke to him was 2 months before I had left the Wells property. After that, I literally went off grid. I shut down my Facebook. I shut down my Instagram. I threw away my old phone. And I just went off grid. No one could find me. Not even my own family, my brother, my uncles, my cousins. You know, none of them were
Yes,
able
I
to
know.
find me at all.
Trust me, I know.
So it was something I personally had to do, because I feel if I didn't take that break, I felt that, my mental health wasn't going to get any better.
Mhm.
And I wasn't going to, stand up from the ashes again, as you could say.
Okay.
Because,
So this
constantly being beat and getting back up after a while, it takes a toll. And then when you're on the ground, you're like, why should I keep getting back up? I'm only going to get beat back down,
Mhm.
and that was my fight within myself,
right.
until I finally, seek therapy and started to really fight for myself. Because, in my life, I always fought for others and did for others. And, getting myself together, I would look in the mirror and I would say, damn, Jose, when the hell are you going to do something for yourself?
Mhm.
When are you going to fix you? When are you going to be okay with yourself? In order for you to love others, you have to love yourself.
Mhm.
And at that time, I didn't. I didn't love myself. I hated myself, and it was hard. It's not an easy road. It's a constant battle every
Mhm.
day. But every day I open my eyes, I thank God I'm awake. I thank God he woke me up. I look in the mirror and I say, today's going to be a great day. And I always try to think of it as a positive way. I don't care if I'm hurt, homeless, I'm not working. No matter what, my day has to start positive. Because if you wake up,
All right. I'm going to show you Crime Stories Obsessed. Credit goes to Emma with Crime Stories Obsessed. What you're about to hear is, in my opinion, absolutely appalling. Absolutely appalling. that a father can talk like this about his missing child. And he also says in this that the kidnapper come take her from a bad situation. What bad situation, Don? Right? What bad situation? Well, here you go, guys.
Predator would come up here and take our daughter. This is not going to be somebody like, oh, I love you, Summer, and I just want to save you from a bad situation. And I just want to save you from a bad situation. 90% of the time when someone takes a little girl or whatever, or boy even, it's for 90% of the time it's because they're predators. So it's just not good. Somebody has hurt her, probably sexually, maybe beat the fuck out of her, probably killed her. Let's be realistic. This ain't gonna be good. Predator would come up here and take our daughter. This is not gonna be somebody like, oh, I love you, Summer, and I just want to save you from a bad situation. And I just want to save you from a bad situation. 90% of the time when someone takes a little girl or whatever, or boy even, it's for 90% of the time it's because they're predators. So it's just not good. Somebody has hurt her, probably sexually, maybe beat the fuck out of her, probably killed her. A predator would come up here and take our daughter.
And at the very end, he says, I've got it. I guess I clipped it too early. He says, let's just be realistic about it. Can you believe that? I mean, seriously, Don. Seriously, man. That is absolutely, absolutely appalling, disgusting that a human being who, yes, and Summer hadn't even been missing a year, probably 7 or 8 months at that time. He definitely doesn't sound like a distraught father. So there you go. Don saying the worst. You would never let your mind go that. Well, you just wouldn't. Whether your mind went there privately or not, of just thinking about that, like, in your really bad times, you just don't say that. You get it out of your mind and you hope and you pray, like, you know what I mean? That's what you do. Is appears well, yeah.
With a negative feeling and a negative thought, that's the way your day is going to be. And it's something I learned through therapy. No matter how hard, just think of the good side.
Yes.
You're alive, you're healthy,
Well,
you're walking, you're breathing.
Well, I just want to tell you, Jose, I'm extremely proud of how far you've come. We've talked privately about what you're doing now and the strides you're making, and kudos to you because you can turn your life around. It is never ever too late. If you have breath, you have purpose, and that's just the way it is.
I would tell to your listeners, there's something that most people really don't understand or realize about ourselves is if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. If you don't stand up and say, I'm worth something because God made me. And if God made me, I have purpose.
And that's right, Emma. That's what I'm saying. Yes, they came up here and took her from a bad situation. You just admitted it, Don, that was a bad situation up on that hill from your own lips. Everybody knows it, but you just admitted it. took her from a bad situation. What bad situation? What bad situation, right? A lot of bad
Amen.
situations.
I'm not a mistake. And
That's
as
right.
long as you think like that, doors open, windows open, floodgates open, you would see everything in your life will start to change.
Yes.
You just got to
Thank you,
believe in
Patricia.
it.
Yes. Andrew actually has a YouTube channel. I was in there
Okay.
this morning. He doesn't really get, I don't think he gets on YouTube that much, but maybe he does. I don't know. But he said, and he has said before, that he has been in constant contact with you, and that uh, this morning he said that he had your phone number and he pretended like he was calling you, and the phone did ring. I don't know who it was calling.
Okay, guys, I'm at 2.5 hours. We're gonna end it here. We still have another 3 hours on this one interview. 3 more hours left remaining on this interview. So I'm going to end it here. I may come back later tonight. Probably not, to be quite honest with you, but I may. You never know. And I will be live tomorrow evening at some point, and then I'll be out of town for a couple days after that. But we're going out of town and all that. So I love you all. I appreciate you. But I'll be more on my second channel while I'm on my trip and stuff like that. So make sure you're subscribed to Clutch Them Pearls. It's my fun channel. It's where I, act like a buffoon. And we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun over there. So yeah, make sure it's called Clutch Them Pearls. And you got to make sure you stay clutch, honey. Stay clutch. Love you all. God bless each and every single one of you. Listen, Summer Wells' case is a case that has touched so many of our hearts and our lives, and you just can't let it go. Everyone has failed this little girl, and we're not going to fail her here. And uh law enforcement certainly isn't. So I believe that with all of my heart. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the next one. God bless.